Let's throw back here as the great Lee Zeldin takes a 5-minute break. Scott Bessent is continuing as we are here with January Madness as the cabinet is being assembled. Let's go right in. This is good stuff. Bernie Sanders and Scott Bessent. This is really good TV. Let's watch.
Everyone to the committee this morning, but as a new member of the committee, I personally welcome you and look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Mr. Bessent, thanks very much for being in the office the other day. Mr. Bessent, the United States today has more income and wealth inequality than has ever existed in the history of our country. You got 3 people on top, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg, who are now worth almost $1 trillion. That is more than half of the bottom of our society, some 170 million people. 3 people, more wealth than the bottom, 170 million. We have more concentration of ownership today than we have ever had. We have more concentration of ownership in the media, where a handful of billionaires like Musk, Bezos, Rupert Murdoch increasingly own the media and the information that the American people receive. We have a corrupt campaign finance system in which a small number of billionaires in both political parties make huge contributions into the presidential and congressional campaigns. When you have a small number of multi-billionaires who have enormous economic, media, and political power, would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights, and freedoms," end of quote. That's what President Biden said last night. I agree with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed our visit, and I hope you got my follow-up materials that on the discussions, my previous writings on the tariffs and China. And look, the 3 billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves. Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
I understand that, but what I'm asking you is, when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to 2 people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs. So
this is not a condemnation of any one individual. I'm just asking you, when so few people have so much wealth and power, but do you think that is an oligarchic form of society?
Senator, I think it depends on the ability to move up and down the income.
No, that's not really the answer. I mean, even if you had that mobility, no matter who those individuals might be. All right, but let me ask you another question. Right now in America, we have over 22 million workers who are making less than $15 an hour, and nearly 40 million people in our country earning less than $17 an hour. Shamefully, the federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people here, have not been raised since 2009 and remains an unbelievable $7.25 an hour. Will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage to a living wage to take millions of Americans out of poverty?
Senator, I believe that the minimum wage is more of a statewide and regional issue.
So you don't think we should change the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Bessent, millions of working class Americans who are struggling to keep their heads above water are paying outrageously high interest rates on their credit cards. Over half the American people who take out new credit cards are being charged interest rates of over 24%. 24%. During his campaign, President-elect Trump promised that he was going to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. I happen to think that that is a very good idea, and I will soon be introducing legislation to do just that. Will you, as if you are confirmed, be supportive of what President-elect Trump said and what I want to see happen, and that is to cap credit card interest rates at 10%?
Senator, I think we can both agree that many credit card companies have been bad actors throughout history, and I will get back to you once.
Now, very simple question. Trump said he wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. I agree with him. Will you be supportive of what Trump and I would like to do?
When President Trump takes office, and if I am confirmed, I will follow what President Trump wants to do.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
So what's going on in the Pam Bondi hearing is that people are testifying pro and con on her behalf. We have the Lee Zeldin situation going on. That's Shelley Moore Capito. We have the Governor Burgum situation. And let me just tell you the difference of worldview between Bernie Sanders and Scott Bessent. Bernie Sanders is correct. We are getting closer and closer to an oligarchy. We've been saying that on this program for quite some time, but it's not the type of oligarchy that he thinks. It's an oligarchy of people that have centralized government-type control with corporate-friendly power on the outside. And we see this kind of inside-out relationship. And the difference between Bernie Sanders and Scott Bessent is Bernie Sanders believes in a fixed pie theory, that just because somebody gets rich, he thinks somebody gets poor. And Bernie Sanders is grilling Scott Bessent saying, should we not be able to take this wealth away? But you could always make the pie bigger. The thing about a market is markets work in that people get richer simultaneously through voluntary transaction, through the price system, through the profit motive, the ability to make and take risks in a market economy. And we know what the horrors of socialism have done for so many people. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. We're doing so much good work here at Turning Point USA. We appreciate it. And if you listen to audio podcasts, subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. That's Charlie Kirk Show podcast. We won, everybody. We won. I need to get this hat. Daisy, you can get me one of these hats. We won. And if you guys want a limited edition signed MAGA hat right here, last thing I'll say is become a member, members.charliekirk.com, to get a limited edition MAGA hat. We have 5,000 to send out, don't we, Daisy?
Over, like 8,000 now.
We have 8,000 hats I have to sign. 8,000 hats. God bless.